whole year is Living Everyday Wonder. And then each month, we are looking at a different kind of topic or area of our life. So this month, November, we are focusing on home. We've been talking about what is home. We have perhaps a physical home, maybe a hometown, maybe a spiritual home, many different definitions of home. And last week, we talked about how home is truly that place where we experience a deep sense of belonging, a sense of acceptance of who we are. And in an ideal world, our physical home or our family home is that place where we get to grow and learn and discover who we are, embracing our messy lives and our authentic, imperfect selves. But we know that that is not the reality for all, if not many. Most people can describe and tell you the essential elements of a healthy and happy home, but there are far fewer who can say they actually experience that in their home environment. Statistics of abuse and neglect are staggering, not to mention the emotional abuse that often goes unreported, yes? And this childhood pain and trauma, if unhealed and unresolved, can impact people well into adulthood and affects many areas of our lives. And this week, as we approach Thanksgiving and the holiday season, we enter into this time where a lot of that unhealed stuff gets to come up as we are confronted by perhaps going home or being with family and people we haven't seen in a while, and in a place where perhaps people don't see us for who we know to be today, right? Because we are always learning and growing and evolving, and yet sometimes when we return to those places of our upbringing and origin, people still seem to see us as that little Johnny or little Bobo or whoever, right? So it can be a time for stuff to come up. And at the same time, it can be an opportunity for relaxation and connection with friends and family as we gather together and eat a lot of food. You all right? Okay. All right, well, back there is a shady spot by Kyle, if you like. So as we get to gather together, we can experience the joy, the connection, and it also evokes kind of a mix of emotions, right? We might feel sadness or grief, anxiety, fear, anger, as visiting home can remind us of those we have lost, those that have died, or those who have left the family for one reason or another. And it may bring up some of these, dysfunctional dynamics that often occur in families. So, many of us, it's kind of a time of year of mixed emotions. It's a very vulnerable time, a place where our hearts, as they say, home is where the heart is, right? But our hearts are also easily bruised when we are in that vulnerable place, yes? So all that being said, you're like, where are you going with this, Rainbow? I'm feeling real sad right now. Well, all that being said, just acknowledging what is first, yes? What if we were to approach this holiday season differently? What if we were to embrace curiosity and wonder with a willingness to be a catalyst for healing within ourselves and our family? What if we were willing to be that catalyst of healing within ourselves and our family? So that leads us to today's topic, which is home, H-O-M-E, as an acronym. So let's look at this and break it down. What if H.O.M.E was actually healing opportunities manifest everywhere? Healing opportunities manifest everywhere. It is this place where our BS, our belief system, comes on full display, and we have the opportunity for transforming those old patterns and revealing wholeness and new possibilities for our lives and our families. The task is to face our own stuff when it comes up. And this is known as the initiation phase of the hero's journey, right? That kind of mythical journey that we all experience in our life. And it is, you see in stories all around us, this hero's journey, where the main character must face challenges that forces them to confront their own insecurities and fears and doubts in order to emerge victorious. So it's necessary to experience this in order for transformation to occur, that of psychological and spiritual maturity. There's a lot of nuance to this, right? It could be easy just to kind of ignore and not want to talk about the past or certain things, even though the emotions are bubbling within us, and we just smile and get along because we don't want to, we like to keep the peace. But for us to actually transform and have an experience of growth and new possibilities within ourselves and within our families and whatever communities we're involved in, we must face those hard things and be willing to be that catalyst for healing and transformation. And honestly, if we didn't have those challenges in our lives, I said before, I think life would be pretty boring. We wouldn't have the opportunity to grow and learn and discover more about ourselves and discover our own strength and power of what we are capable of. Physically, yes, but also emotionally and spiritually. When we are able to walk through the fire, so to speak, then we see what is possible, and we get to embrace something new, a new expression and a new understanding of ourselves as an expression of the infinite. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, says, a common question is, why all the suffering, the sorrow, the pain? Why has tragedy accompanied the journey of humanity? He goes on to say, there is no other way through which true individuality can evolve. One must be let alone to discover themselves. And that brings me back to that imagery of that beautiful poem that Lauren read for us this morning, right? We must be left alone to discover who we are by taking that path less traveled and all the trials and tribulations that may come through that, but to know who we are by being willing to face adversity and remain solid and grounded in the truth of who we are. Some of you who may follow me on Facebook saw a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go hiking with my daughter Cadence, and it's one of our favorite things to do, and it's been such a busy season that I barely got out to hike this fall, and we missed the leaves by a little bit, but it was still a gorgeous day. And we went down to Berea hiking the Pinnacles. And we did one path that we've done before, right? With kind of the straight up path to the first lookout. And it's beautiful. Well, going back, it's like I don't really want to go back the same way, right? Let's do something new or different. So we were kind of looking and exploring. We could go this way for another way, or we could go that way. And we kind of talked about it, and we're like, okay, let's go this way towards the west pinnacle, and then that will loop us back down. So we get going. This is great. And I thought that I had been there before. I had done this hike before with some other friends. I think Cynthia might have been there. And there's a certain point where we get, and we kind of hike up on a little rock and look out, and I thought that was the west pinnacle. So I thought this is where we were going, and that it was somewhat familiar territory, but one I've only done once. So Cadence and I go, and we get to that point, and I recognize it. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is it. And then I see a guy kind of coming up through these rocks and around here, and I look at him, and I say, is that the path? And he's like, yeah, it's awesome. You know, there's even some like climbing involved. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's go. So we start to go, and he was not kidding. He was climbing up. Well, we were going down in the fall leaves, super slippery, holding on, you know, so it's like these little crevices of rocks, and did a lot of booty scooting, mostly just sliding down in the leaves, and woo, where's this going, and woo, where's this going? You know, and there was a couple of points where I was like, hold on, let me go down a little bit and look and make sure this is the path. And then, you know, you can still see me, but stay there because I don't want to have to go back up and find the right path. So she was scared, right? And she was moving through some fear. And I was moving through a little fear, but I was like, we just got to keep going. It's fine. We got this. And we forge the path forward. We get through that really kind of, you know, difficult time, and then it's just kind of a normal path again, and we're walking, and, you know, we go for a bit, and once, as we're kind of starting to walk, and it's now all of a sudden it's just feeling like this long path. And she's like, are we ever going to get home? You know, are we ever going to get home? And I'm like, baby, we got water, we got food, we got plenty of daylight, we will get home. It's all good. I know the path isn't endless, right? But there's those moments in our journey, right, where we get through something difficult, and then all of a sudden we're like, are we ever going to get home? And then we kind of literally turn a corner and start to kind of head back down a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I know we're on that path back, that trajectory. And then the kind of endorphins kick in, right? And Cadence was like, I'm so glad we took that path, and that was so much fun. And we had the opportunity to talk about, how like fear and anxiety are kind of on the same spectrum of emotions. Fear and excitement, sorry. And so the excitement we feel of doing something new, of proving to ourselves that we can do something challenging, creates that, that release of dopamine and endorphins and all that come, and as well as the feeling of satisfaction of like, I did that, right? I did that. And she's like, I want to do it again. When we get to that point where you could go back up to it, and she's like, I just want to do it again. I'm like, yeah. And then it's literally like 2 minutes later, she's going, pick me up. And then I'm like, okay, aren't you glad we didn't do it again? I do better for that. But I say this to say that what if we were to experience life in this way? To try on this idea that we are fully equipped for all the obstacles life presents. That we have within us everything we need for this journey of evolution. That everything in our experience has brought us to who we are today. We can't change the past, but we can choose how we move forward. We can choose to accept the experiences simply for what was. It is what it is. And not attaching any meaning to who we are based on our experiences of the past. Something that we label bad may have occurred in our life, but it doesn't mean that we are bad or wrong or anything less than holy, holy, perfect. we get to choose to recognize our wholeness despite any seeming circumstances or stories that may tell us otherwise. We can recognize that everything we need for this hero's journey, this thing called life, already exists within and around us as this universal presence. And we can move forward with faith and trust that we have what we need to prevail. And in that, we develop a resilience that allows us to thrive in the face of adversity. Carl Jung says, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." So I don't know about you, but for me, my life's path, my journey has not quite been a straight line, right? There's always been something within me kind of pulling me towards something, guiding me. But the journey of experience of life has many ups and downs and twists and turns, just like a flight path, right? If we were to fly from here to Los Angeles, the plane doesn't go in a straight line. It's constantly a process of course correcting, right? So it's kind of like, back. So there's always the vision, and it kind of goes like this, but we will eventually get there. The same way as our life leads us, and we have, this wonderful opportunity to choose different paths in our life, which create that fertile soil for something new to grow and to develop. And I know for me that, I wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, there are things that have happened that I can look back and say, well, if I didn't make that choice, I would be here today instead of here. That's just a mind game, right? That's just the ego trying to, make you not feel as good about who and where you are today. So I invite you not to get trapped, in the seduction of the mind, looking back and saying the what ifs or the regrets or, all of that stuff, because it didn't happen, so who knows? And what we know is through all of that, we are never truly lost because we are always at home with our own being. In moments, we may forget who we are, but in time, we will always return back to ourselves and to the center of our being, knowing that within us there is always that something that knows. Something within me knows. It's like walking a labyrinth. I love that meditative practice of walking a labyrinth, and there's a new labyrinth at Wellington Park, I believe it is, outside. That's beautiful, and we've had the opportunity to go there. But if you've ever walked a labyrinth, you get started, and you kind of go in the middle, and there's the center, right? And you're like, great, I'm heading towards the center. And then you follow the path, and then all of a sudden you're kind of on the outside, and then you start winding back to where you're near the center again. And then you kind of go on the next little part of it, and all of a sudden you're on the outside again, winding. Near the center, okay, am I almost done? You start winding. When you're kind of in this third section, you get close, you're like, okay, right? The ego mind will be like, all right, I'm almost to the destination. I'm back to the center. And then again, it takes you all the way to the outside before you find yourself back in the center and then the path to exit. So what if we were to not make these twists and turns of life wrong? What if it is a perfectly orchestrated, divine pattern of wholeness that we always wind up in the center? On page 290 of the Science Mind textbook, I feel like, get out your textbook and turn to the book. I'm just kidding. But if you want to look it back later, it's a great chapter. On the Science of Mind textbook, H.O.M.E says, in mental work, we must realize that there is one infinite mind. Declare every day that no mistakes have been made, none are being made, and none can be made. There is one supreme intelligence which governs, guides, and guards. So notice, though, that he didn't say there are no mistakes, like denying the experience that we make mistakes. Instead, he said to declare there are no mistakes. This is an exercise he's presenting to expand your consciousness and your awareness, to move into a place of willingness to believe that every part of your journey, of your evolution, has value. So when we declare that no mistakes have been made and none are being made, nor none will be made, it shifts our mindset to move from a place of regret or resentment or shame, to move to a place that there is something within us pulling us forward on this trajectory of life that is wholeness. We are always revealing wholeness through the opportunities of the twists and turns of life. In nature, we see a great example of this, knowing that everything has value. There is no waste in the natural world. Even worm poop becomes compost to nurture new growth, yes? So what if we were to think about our lives in this way too, that all that stuff that has occurred is simply compost for something new to emerge? We are evolving towards something. And what we know is that in this process of evolution, of accepting all that has occurred and not making it good, bad, right, or wrong, not making it mean anything, but just simply acknowledging and accepting that in this compost, in this fertile ground, this place of sometimes chaos, that something great is emerging. And it is in those greatest moments of chaos and destruction that the greatest leaps of possibility can occur. So not just incremental change, but a leap of possibility can occur in the moments of chaos. And we're seeing that in our world right now, are we not? And there's so many opportunities, not only in our own life, but in this collective consciousness that's being outpictured as the chaos. Whoosh, a leap of possibility can occur, and it will occur. So this week, whatever home you may find yourself in, whether you are traveling, visiting with family or not, you have the opportunity to remember that your true home is within. And also be gentle with yourself and others, because we don't know the life path, the twists and turns that others are walking. Be gentle with yourself and remember home. Healing opportunities manifest everywhere. Embrace curiosity and wonder. Notice your feelings, what emerges, and then ask, what is this trying to tell me? Are you perhaps on the brink of shifting your BS, your belief system, through what is occurring in your life? Is it an invitation to go deeper? Is it an invitation to transform an old belief that no longer serves your highest good? Is there an opportunity to change your perspective and thus your perception of reality? This is the core of the work and the opportunity for healing and expansion in our lives. And lastly, remember that we, Ahava Center for Spiritual Living, as your spiritual home, healing opportunities manifesting everywhere, are here for you. If stuff comes up for you around the holidays or whatever is moving in your life, we are here to support you in remembering the truth of who you are. You can call upon myself or other ministers or licensed spiritual practitioners to pray with you, to affirm the truth, to vision with you. Whatever support you need, we are here. You can lean into the spiritual tools and practices and spiritual principles that we teach to move lovingly through those growing pains of your personal evolution and expansion, stretching beyond what you thought was possible, even for your own life and the collective. So remember, the greatest leaps of possibility come from the greatest moments of chaos. So let's leap with love into this holiday season, shall we? All right. Yes. Let us affirm and pray together. Taking a nice deep breath. I just feel called to ring this. Again, a nice deep breath. Knowing and recognizing the one life that is wholeness. This one life that is love, that is divine order, that is grace, peace. I recognize this cosmic isness, this universal presence as the one life, as love, as peace, as joy, moving in as and through all life, for there is only one. And as I know that this life is love, is peace, is order, I know that this absolutely is the truth of who I am. And I speak this word as the me that is the we, for all of us, knowing that love is who I am. That I am whole, perfect, and complete. I move forward embracing all of life, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. I invite in the love, grace, and peace to guide me as I choose to show up with curiosity and wonder, being that catalyst for healing within my own life, my family, and the world. So grateful to allow this divine presence to inform who I am, to lead, to guide this wandering ship called life, embracing all for what it is, accepting and moving forward into the infinite possibility of life, claiming and knowing that expansion is occurring right here, right now. Knowing that infinite possibility resides right here within my center, that I am never truly lost. I can always choose to come home to that place within that has never been hurt, harmed, or hindered, to the divine essence of who I am, that is love, that is peace, that is freedom, that is wholeness, to that place within my own heart and soul where I deeply love and accept myself for all that I am. I get to be me freely, fully, moving through this world as an extension of love, and knowing that love is always the healer, Love is the healing force in my life, leading and guiding me in all of my actions, words, deeds, decisions. I am anchored in, guided by love, and reminded that love is always the answer. So I just take a deep breath, accepting this truth. So grateful for the fulfillment of this word. As I release it into the action of the law that always says, yes, 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 my beloved, it is done. And it is so. And so it is.